Thank you. Right, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So, the big question in this world of AI, and we're talking about wellness and peace and all kinds of things, is I want you all to be truthful now, okay? How many of you consider yourself to be lazy? Please raise your hand. Yeah? I'm happy to see that we have a few truthful people in the house today. For all of those who did not raise their hand, I underestimated your skills. You're too lazy to even raise your hands. My goodness. So, I want to be talking to you today about humorous speeches. And in my opinion, humor is not the opposite of anything serious. It's just another side of something serious, right? So if I were to be talking to you about an international speech, for example, I'd ask you to think of challenges in your life and tell us how you overcame that. What if we took those same challenges and we just looked at it in a funny way and said, man, I really sucked that time. Now I'm so much better, right? We can have a laugh at things that actually went wrong. If you look at it, I personally feel that motivational speakers are very funny people. Yeah? I'll give you an example. I was watching this YouTube video where this motivational speaker comes out and says, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. You've heard that, right? Yeah? Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. I wanted to tell him, man, I spent 30 years to get into my comfort zone. Now you want me to get out? It's my comfort zone, you get out. So if you want to find humor, you really don't have to look too far. Just look into your life. Look at some of those situations that you went through, but just look at it in a different light, right? Take a fun look at it. Have fun with it. See, motivation is really one of my favorite subjects. You know, nowadays you have these gurus and all of that. When I was a kid, I had only one motivational speaker. That was my mom. And she had her own way of motivation. Yeah, I mean, to get up in the morning, she would come and just scream. I mean, she would scream so loud, even the neighbors would start brushing their teeth. Yeah, and you know, to discipline us, me and my brothers and my cousins and all, she had a process called the UFO theory. Unidentified flying objects. They would come flying at you, right? Now you have these precision-guided missiles and all of that. I swear her slipper would bend in the air. And wherever you hit it, come and hit you, right? So, you don't have to, really worry about whether we have a humor bone in us or whether we have a funny bone in us or we have the skills or it's something we've never tried before. It's already there in you. You have enough stories in your life to have fun with. All we need to do is pick up those stories and look at them in a different light. My endeavor today is going to be to try and help you find content and give you a few tips on how you can make any sentence, any story funny. Right? Sounds like a plan? Yeah. Yep. All right. So the first question is the basic structure of a joke. Okay? It's not very complicated. Forgive me, I'm an engineer. I need a process for everything. Okay, so there are two parts to a joke. One is the setup and the other is the punchline. Okay, the punchline is what we in our mind presume people are going to laugh at. That it's going to be funny and people are going to laugh at that. That's the punchline. But that's the best bet we have. So what we do is we keep a short setup which gives enough information. We pause, okay, to create that curiosity, and then we hit our punchline. Hopefully people laugh, and then we pause again so that people will continue laughing. Because if you speak, people will stop laughing and listen to you, right? So that's the basic idea. Few things to remember. When you're writing your joke, the punchline is always at the end of the sentence. It's never in between. There's nothing after it. It's always at the end of the sentence. Okay? So wherever you think people are going to laugh in your speech, that has to be at the end of a sentence. It cannot be somewhere in between. The setup should not be too long, right? When you're telling a joke, it shouldn't be that, you speak for 3 minutes and at the end there is a joke. That's not going to work, right? You need that joke to be a lot earlier than that. So keep your setup short. Okay, let's look at where we find content. We spoke about things that go wrong in your life, right? So just look back, when have things gone wrong? An easy example is vacations. Things can go wrong at vacations, right? I mean, you could, I don't know, miss the flight, or the hotel is overbooked, or your spouse decided to join you. Things can go wrong. I mean, you can make all the plans you want, but if she decides to tag along, that's the end of Bangkok or Pattaya or wherever the hell you wanted to go. You'll have to go to some temples there, yeah? Which is probably not what you had in mind, but anyway. So the idea is, you look at your life and you see, for example, somebody spoke about driving here in Dubai. Driving tests in Dubai are a good source of humor. How many of you have really studied hard and done that test multiple times, 2, 3, 4? I've heard of 7, I've heard of 11 times they've tried to get that driver's license. These could be fun stories. I remember when I took my driving test in India, this too. I know, I'm one of the few people who actually took that driver's exam. Back in my home, my sister, the driving school came to the home and gave her the license. Yeah, but I still took the test. And I was waiting in queue, and the lady, there was an old lady who took the Maruti 800 before me. She reversed, she didn't brake, she just went on, and eventually few people had to catch that car. The car actually stopped with people catching it, pull her out of a ditch, and I was next. I'm like, okay, I'm sure his expectations are very low, so I'll pass. Yeah. So you look back at these kind of situations where, it seemed bad at that time, but now we can actually look back at it and have a laugh. Another easy source of humor is, think about funny people in your life. We've all had these characters who are fun, who do things in a very weird way, and you like to have fun of it, right? You like to have fun with it. I used to have a teacher in class. She always used to say, open the window, let the Air Force come in. Okay, it was just her bad English, but we thought it was a lot of fun. Until I reached home, and my mom wanted me to hang a calendar. So she said, Hashim, are you going to hang it or should I hang myself? What made it worse was my dad says, you don't listen, you do it. He thought, okay, this would be my chance to escape from here. So funny characters can really make even a hard story sound really soft. I come from a small town in Kerala, India called Changanasheri. The speciality of our town, which is not much, I mean, it's quite obscure. Even I struggle to remember the name at times. But we used to have a great scientist called Dr. Sundareshan Subramaniam. We used to call him Dr. Susu for short. I know, it's funny in many languages, not in ours apparently. But so Dr. Susu was a contemporary of Newton, right? So they say that he actually discovered gravity before Newton. You know how Newton discovered gravity, right? Yes. Sits under the apple tree, apple falls on his head, voila, gravity. So Susu too sat under a tree. The only difference is in my town there are no apple trees, only coconut trees. One of those fell, he realized the gravity of the situation. All right. So funny characters is a way. So look back into your life, think of, maybe that first boss or that teacher or, your grandfather who would never listen to you or any of those. See if you can play around with that, bring that character to life, portray them on stage and really create a fun moment over there. Another easy way where you can find stories of humor are relationships, right? Husband and wife, I would steer clear of that. People have been doing that for decades. Just leave it out. There are enough YouTube videos and TikToks and all for that. Leave it out. There are better relationships that you can talk about. Maybe you and your boss. It's an amazing relationship. My boss, God bless his soul, I hope he meets the back of a Toyota Corolla running over him. I told him, after great difficulty of 2 successful years, I went and told him, boss, I need a hike. The moron gave me tickets to Jebel Jais. He should join Toastmasters and learn English first. But, so the picture is you have maybe, your grandparents or your first teacher or your best friend who would never listen to you. Yeah, all of these are good relationships that you can talk about, have fun with it. And these are simple, everybody can understand because everyone has these kind of relations in their life as well. So you'll quickly connect with your audience. The safest form of humor is self-deprecating humor. Make fun of things that you're bad at. Me personally, I'm bad at very few things, I'll admit. But one thing I'm exceptionally good at is cooking. My goodness. My mom, okay, I thought we started with the red. My mom, my wife, my sister, all three of them will vouch that you can let Lucifer into your kitchen, but not me. I mean, really, I have really made people's life and health miserable. I'm exactly the opposite of wellness, my cooking. So it goes like this, right? Few years back for Eid, I decided to do something special, and I went to the kitchen and cooked my favorite chicken biryani. Yeah, it was amazing, perfect, beautiful. I invited 5 of my friends over, gullible souls they are. They came. I put it in a nice plate, and I gave them my special chicken biryani. 3 of them are not my friends anymore. The other 2 became vegetarians. Things like this happen, right? But the idea is that they may have suffered for it, but that doesn't mean I cannot use this in a humorous speech. Yeah, I can use it. I can tell the story of their suffering. Jokingly, of course. That's the idea, right? So you talk about things that you're not good at. Some of you may be really bad at singing. I'm also guilty of that, but I'm not going to talk about it now. One self-deprecation is enough. Yeah. So think about what you're not good at, how difficult it was, how bad it was, and how miserable you felt at that time. But now you're over it, right? So have fun with that. So this is where you can find content for your speech. Now let's cover a few techniques that we can use to make anything sound funny. I want to ask you to, in any sentence that you get, I want you to look for, a specific word. There's going to be a bit of grammar in here, yeah? I hope you don't mind that. None of you hated your grammar teacher, did you? Okay, I hated her anyway. Look for adjectives. Yeah, they're an easy source of humor for you. Let me give you an example. Say the sentence is, we're looking at a man and saying he's a tall man, right? So if the sentence is, that man was so tall, you can always say he was so tall like, a crossbred giraffe and a human being, or he was so tall like, a Burj Khalifa wearing a kandura, or he was so tall like, and you start making fun of it, right? The only thing is, whatever you put after the like has to be funny, right? So he was so tall, he was so short, he was so short, he was down to earth. Yeah? He was so short that he was well grounded. He was so short that he would always look up to you. Yeah? So I always tell, that, whenever I see in the audience, before when I was younger and I had options, I would tell the audience, girls and ladies, you need to marry a husband who's shorter than you. Because whatever happens, that man will always look up to you. He'll always be well grounded, he'll always keep it short and sweet. Yeah? So the idea is you find the adjective and just make fun of that. You can use like, you can use so, you can exaggerate and say, he was so tall, his head was hitting the ozone layer, or he was so tall, the Burj Khalifa would get a complex. Have fun with that. So you can use like, you can use so, but whatever you put after that has to be humorous. Triads are something everyone asks you to use to, sort of make your speech more descriptive, more beautiful. Yeah, triads are a good option for you to have humor in it. What you do is 1 and 2 are the normal way, 3 is the misdirection, is the joke, right? So Toastmasters are amazing, they're eloquent, and they never finish on time. I hope we finish on time, otherwise my wife's going to kill me. Yeah. So you get the idea, right? The first 2 go the normal way, the third one is a complete misdirection. That's where you get the humor. So we covered exaggeration, we covered similes, we covered misdirection. These are all different techniques that you can use to actually convert any of your normal sentences into humorous ones. Let me ask you all a quick question. You all know that the humorous speech is for how many minutes? 5 to 7 minutes? Okay, for a 7-minute humorous speech, how many punchlines do you think we should have? Random guess? How many? 20? Very good, I like that. That would be a really funny speech, right? If you had 20 jokes in it. Of course, you would have to spend 1 year writing those jokes maybe. Anybody else? 7? 8 to 10? 8 to 10 jokes? Yeah. I think she was more closer to the actual number you should hit at. what I'd say is maybe every 30 seconds or 25 seconds you should have a laugh. Because the thing about humorous speeches is, if people laugh, then only you win this contest, right? You need people to react to you. Energy dies down as the speech goes on. So the more frequent you have your punchlines, you can keep that energy flowing. So there's a science behind this, right? So if you were to write, say, 14, 15 good jokes, my suggestion to you would be, take your best 4 jokes, put 2 of them right at the beginning, 2 of them right at the end. Okay? You put them at the beginning so that right at the top you get a laugh, you get the crowd with you, they like you. If they're at that high, even if you have medium jokes in between, they have a chance to get laughter and it continues. You always have really strong jokes right at the end, because face it, everybody listens to the ending and then they go remembering what happened at the ending. So you want to leave them with a really big high. Remember another thing, what happens when you finish your speech in a contest? You're done, you say thank you, everybody is clapping, hopefully they liked your speech, they're still clapping. Then the judges pick up their pens to mark you, right? So if you are energetic at that point of time, ideally a 70 would become a 75. But if you end on a low energy, 70 becomes a 65, right? So you always want to end strong no matter what happens. Where do you practice? You practice at your club meetings, okay? And you may think that, I've never done humor before, I'm not really a funny person, maybe this is not for me. Remember one thing about Toastmasters, okay? You're not here to prove anything. You're here to improve, right? So if you fail, you fail. Doesn't matter. But you learn from that and you get better. Where do you prove? You prove out there in the real world. At your work, at your home, in your communities, with your team. That's where you prove yourself. You're here to improve. So try the humorous out. Make mistakes. One thing I guarantee you about all Toastmasters, right? Whether they liked your speech or not, they will clap. Yeah. It's part of your membership form. You've signed there. I am going to clap for every speech, right? So don't worry about it. Right? The worst that will happen is, they will clap, but they may frown. That wasn't good. It's okay, but you'll get better. The idea is you try, you build that skill, and then you apply it to your real conversations. You'll be the star of any room, any conversation you have. Picture this, you have a boring meeting going on in a boardroom. You're presenting your monthly reports. Everyone's looking down, the energy is down. You crack in with a quick, small wit, gets everybody's attention back, and then you continue with your presentation. Yeah, that's how you actually use your skills that you develop in Toastmasters in the real world. Okay? Few things to remember about humorous speeches. You remember Mr. Bean? Yeah? Very funny guy, right? He hardly ever spoke. Hardly ever. But with his gestures, his body language, he always kept that energy really high, always kept you connected, always had things going. Body language plays an important part in your humorous speech. Your gestures, your energy. Think if you go on stage and you say, okay, I'm going to tell you a joke today. I hope you will laugh. Bloody hell, they're not laughing. Nobody's going to laugh. You're going to suck the remaining energy also down. So you've got to bring the energy. You've got to be upbeat. You've got to connect with your audience. See what they're doing. See what's working for them. Yeah. Understand your style of humor. Not every style works for everybody. We don't have to be the next Russell Peters. We've just got to be us. All right. So figure out what's working for you. For some people like puns. Some people like action humor. Some people like slapstick. Some people like single one-liners. Doesn't matter. You connect it all together to make a good speech and build your style of humor. When you pick topics, remember, your speech succeeds only if the audience laughs. So whatever you say has to be acceptable to the audience, right? So avoid stuff like, religion, community, something borderline which not everybody may be happy with or comfortable with. So pick topics that, 10 years down the line, if somebody puts on YouTube and tags you, you're still happy to let your kids watch it, right? Think of that. You should be proud of your video because you worked hard to really put up that speech. Okay, so pick topics that are acceptable to the audience, understand your audience. Steer clear of WhatsApp jokes. There are so many groups, in all likelihood, the judges are in the same group as you. Yeah, so steer clear of what you found on WhatsApp. Take it, adapt it, be inspired by it and come up with something a little different. Yeah. On game day, Few things to remember. There's nothing in the rule book which says you need to wear a suit to deliver a humorous speech. Wear something, of course. It's just civil sense that you should wear something respectable, but you don't have to wear a suit. Don't pressurize yourself. Delivering a humorous speech is tough enough, right? So just be comfortable. Play the role of the character you are doing. Practice. Your best friend when it comes to a humorous speech is the camera on your phone. Record all your speeches. See what's working. See what's not working. If you feel it's not working, throw it out. Come up with new material. And remember the important thing, the R in humor right at the end is rewrite. Great speeches are not written, they are rewritten. So practice your content with your friends, with your group, maybe with your mentor. If it works, good. What does not work, remove it, try it again. Go out to another club maybe and try your material. What works here may not work outside. So make sure you get enough practice before you go for your contest. Okay, so my purpose here was just to give you these tips and inspire you to take part in this year's humorous speech contest. And if you do well, really well, I'll invite you all to have biryani at my home. So with that, back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster.